The command center of the Joint Forces of South Korea and the United States discovered that North Korea was preparing to launch an intercontinental missile to the south. The United States military immediately deployed its B-2 stealth bombers. If North Korea dared to start the war, the B-2 would bomb Pyongyang instantly. To prevent the missile launch, South Korea deployed its most advanced fighters, the TA-50 and the F-15 Kilo, which sped into North Korean territory. But just at that moment, a MiG-29 appeared out of nowhere and fired an R-27 air-to-air missile at the F-15 Kilo. The South Korean captain turned sharply and fired another missile to counterattack. Thanks to their great skill, both managed to dodge the impacts and engaged in an intense aerial chase. The South Korean pilot ascended vertically to try to shake off the MiG-29. However, the North Korean pilot fired at will at the F-15K with his 30mm cannon, but as the speed increased, the engine of the MiG-29 suddenly shut down. Upon noticing the F-15K deployed the air brake, executed an emergency turn, and with its Vulcan M61 rotary cannon hit it squarely at 6,000 rounds per minute. Immediately afterward, the pilot fired an air-to-air missile and completely destroyed the MiG-29. On the other hand, the TA-50 fighter arrived at the launch silo area, but before it could drop its bombs, two surface-to-air missiles were fired at it. The pilot accelerated fully and successfully evaded them, causing them to crash into the mountain. But right after, two more heat-seeking anti-aircraft missiles were launched from the ground. The TA-50 immediately released flares to try to intercept them. Although it managed to detonate one of them, the other continued to pursue it relentlessly. Since this type of missile tracks the heat from the fighter's exhaust, they are very difficult to evade. Meanwhile, the North Korean intercontinental missile already had a full tank and was about to exit the silo for the attack. Immediately, the TA-50 turned and dove towards the silo. The enemy anti-aircraft machine guns kept firing. Amid the chaos, the pilot fired an AGM-65 air-to-ground missile. But it missed the target. The heat-seeking missile was still on his tail, so the pilot came up with a very risky maneuver. He accelerated fully in a vertical climb and suddenly shut off the engines. Losing the heat signal, the missile flew past the fighter. The TA-50 dove again. After locking onto the target, he launched another air-to-ground missile that successfully destroyed the intercontinental missile, thus thwarting the North's plans. At the South Korean base, the commander was euphoric for having avoided a nuclear war, but just at that moment, the thermal missile locked onto the TA-50 again and rushed at it at full speed. The pilot realized and hit the accelerator, making sharp turns in the air to try to evade the missile. However, the thermal missile, flying at Mach 3.5, ended up hitting the TA-50. The fighter, severely damaged and releasing thick black smoke, crashed directly into the sea.